Hello and welcome to the Winning Agendas coverage of an Ikoria Lair of the Behemoths sealed. Um, we are in the pre-release window and very excited to be playing with the new set. Two triomes, not necessarily what you want to see, but the fact that this one at least, helps us to cast the ultimatum that we opened is useful. Lutri is one of the easier companions to actually play as a companion, so that's cool. And General Kudrow helps with the humans theme if you want to lean into that. A Labyrinth Raptor is not a bad 2-drop. So all in all, okay. Let's hope we got enough blue that we can actually play Genesis Ultimatum. Yeah, let's see how we go. So speaking of having enough blue to play Genesis Ultimatum, not really sure that we do. Merfolk is fine. Glimmerbell is an okay target to mutate onto. Keep Safe is totally legitimate, drawing a card, preventing one of the many removal spells in the format. Hampering Snare, not one you'd love to play, but it cycles okay, and Dreamtail Heron, one of the better mutate cards. Of One Mind, also sweet, but all in all, not really enough to draw us into that color, so it's there's every chance that we won't end up playing blue. However, on the human side of things, we did have General Kudrow, and we have both Divine Arrow as a piece of removal, but also Double Blade Banish, more importantly, and quite a few human options here between the Keensight Mentor that assists. Obviously, the Vigilance counter can't go on a human, but we've got plenty of human options in Perimeter Sergeant for a nice pump, Day Squad Marshal for the bonus token, and then Majestic Auricorn is actually one of the mutators that I've found particularly nice, because the gain 4 life every time it mutates is good. Not as good as the old Sharky Boy in blue, but not too bad. And Patagia Tiger helps to pump a human potentially on a crucial turn, but also is a pretty serviceable flyer, and also a non-human for our Keensight Mentor. So white in and of itself is looking pretty sweet. Let's see how we went in black. Void Beckoner, nice, especially in the human theme, because you're putting a Death Touch counter on potentially disposable 1/1. Call of the Death Dweller, also going to be nice, because we're getting back 2 small humans and getting one having Death Touch, one having Menace, so cool. Totally happy with that. Duskfang Mentor for lifelink is also really key in this sort of deck, and is a human as well. Night Squad Commando giving us a bonus token, Blood Curdle for sweet removal, bit of card advantage from Dark Bargain, and then a nice mutate from Cavern Whisperer as well, for the discard. And Durable Coil Bug is also a good mutate target. It's worth remembering as well. So yeah, all in all, looking pretty good for that sort of deck. Worth noting though that we have some nice red cards here, particularly the removal. I hadn't seen those 2 cards next to each other and realized that the art was so related. Anyway, that's cute. So Blitz of the Thunder Raptor, not really where we want to be at, but Fire Prophecy is a nice piece of removal, so is Rumbling Rock Slide, and Cloud Piercer is a pretty good mutator, though not as good as some of the others. And then, yeah, we've got a couple of other decent cards in green. Migratory Great Horn is good, going and getting a land, ramping, and fixing is really sweet for a 3-cost mutate. And there's also some fixing in Humble Naturalist, and Fertilid as well. But all in all, probably not a heap of power in green. I haven't seen this guy before. Yeah, so that would help if we were to go into a 3rd color with the human theme, as would Humble Naturalist, although not really what you want to be splashing for in your 3rd color. But Glowstone Recluse is also actually really, really sweet. So it may be worth, if we can go into green, I think it would be nice too. Thankfully we have the Triome for that, and we've also got this, and we've got Trumpeting Gnar, which is another nice mutator, and if we are in green, then I think we'd like to play it. This is also going to help us with the splash. So yeah, all in all, I think we probably do have enough to play black, white, green there. And the Boneyard Lurker is also another sweet one that we can actually just play with black mana as well. So let's get the general in there. We've got the naturalist that we may play, but let's just have a look how this turns out first. And Great Horns are also maybes, because we might end up coming out a little bit of green, and also away from the mutate theme if we want to lean a little bit more heavily into the humans theme. Lordrakis is really sweet though. Oh, it feels really bad not playing Lutri or that. Well, we'll see how this deck looks, because blue, red, the triomes really don't support us going into like a blue, red, black, but we could play blue, red, green and play the ultimatum. Again, the triomes don't really support us, but at least that one, the Zagoth triome, gives us some of it. Anyway, we'll come back to that, because that could be an option, because these cards are really sweet. And as mentioned, we do have some sweet removal in blue and a nice mutator, but not a lot else in blue, other than the counterspell. So let's, anyway, have a look how this looks. Garrison Cat's a nice mutate target, also because it plays well with the humans. Don't have heaps of cycling, so Snare Tactician might come out. The Double Blade Banish, the Day Squad Marshal, the Oracorn, the Tiger, and we'll chuck the Mentors in. Coil Bug. Yeah, there's so many 3-drops in this format. It just really is a million. It's just this real always gap in every deck I make between 2s and 3s. And Blitz Leech. Can be great, cannot be. Whisper Squad as a one-of, not sure we really want to be going there. So where does that leave us? 46 cards, and we've actually got like plenty of other pretty sweet cards in green, particularly, that we haven't included. Yep, and I'm not sure we do have enough instances or stories that we want to play the Dracus. Lutri as well. What would we be copying? Rumbling Rockslide, Fire Prophecy, not really. Those counterspells aren't really worth copying, but they're okay to retrieve. But you probably don't want to play too many keep safes, because it doesn't exactly deal with opposing threats very well. Yeah, I think as sweet as these cards are, I just don't think we have enough that's worth grabbing with them. And we do have double ram through. We should also be playing that, hey? Do we have 3? Wow. Okay, I didn't even notice that. Migration Path could help us to get up to the ultimatum though. But again, what are we playing out with Genesis Ultimatum? A couple of creatures maybe, if we're lucky. Yeah, anyway, let's see how this deck turns out. So ram throughs, we might go down a couple on those, because we've got pretty sweet removal up at 4, and I'm not sure that with our creatures being generally smaller, it might not be good enough, but the fact that it's not a fight, it's a deals damage equal to its power is cool, although, and its instant speed. Although that is a little bit of a problem potentially when your creature can be removed, and there is a lot of removal in the format. So we've got to keep that in mind. But in general, I think we're looking okay here. Which creatures are at the bottom of the pile for us here? The Great Horn, as we said, is a good one because it mutates on turn 3. Maybe these mentors, although being able to put vigilance counters on our mutated creatures is nice. Maybe the Night Squad Commando. This is tough. What to cut? Don't really. I mean, Garrison Cat is a little weaker than some of our other cards, but it is a good mutate target, as is Durable Coil Bug. So I probably want to keep those two in. Valiant Rescuer, again, another 2-drop. I think it's got to be one of our 3 or 4 drops that we cut. They're all just good, is the problem. Could be the Patagia Tiger, though. Flying is nice. But given that we've got enough other, I think, mutate cards and mutate targets, we'll probably leave that alone. Maybe Night Squad Commando. Maybe it doesn't trigger quite often enough given the number of cards we have and the fact that we might not be attacking. And just as a 3-cost 2/2, it's probably not good enough. Glowstone Recluse is really nice. Fertility is good. And is a really good mutate target. Seven cards we've got to cut. That's so many. I feel like we're going to have to eat reasonably significantly into either of kind of the 2 halves of the deck that we've created. So 3 mentors is probably too many. Might cut the Duskfang Mentor, given that we have a little bit more vigilance probably than Lifelink, although Lifelink you could argue is better than vigilance. Maybe we cut a Great Horn. No, let's hold off on that for the moment. Yeah, I think we probably cut Mentors because they might be a little bit slow actually in the way things are turning out. They're good because we can sacrifice them to Kudro, but I think we've got probably enough other human action going on that we can cut them. Snare Tactician, I don't think we've got enough cyclers, so we'll cut. So it looks like the humans are taking the beats here, and we're probably going to end up in the beast deck more significantly than the human deck in terms of power level. So with that in mind, it does make me wonder whether we are going to get enough out of white here. We probably are, but what would we get if we went into blue or red instead as our third color? So we'd still have pretty much the same amount of utility off our triomes, and we'd have a tap land. We'd have a Dismal Backwater as well if we went into blue, which would mean we could play Lutri. But yeah, blue I think is probably weaker than red. So let's say we go into red instead. We get a Fire Prophecy, and really it's not a lot. Like, it's the Fire Prophecy and the Rumbling Rock Slide is really what's drawing us into red with one decent mutator. Dispel Eater Wolverine's okay. And I guess Frenzied Raptor, actually the 3-drop works really nicely with Ram Through. Yeah, maybe let's go for that. I think whilst Kudro is nice and the human theme is good, I think the power might be higher on red. Double Blade Banish is so sweet though. Anyway, let's see how we go. Rumbling Rock Slide's good. Fire Prophecy's nice. We don't have any kind of sacrifice going on now. Pyroceratops is good. The two Frenzied Raptors work nicely, as we said, with the Ram through. Spell Eater Wolverine should be okay. Cycling, I don't even think we have a target for that, do we? Like, it's a good card, but... Oh, we've got the Void Beckoner. I don't think we're going to be pulling that off all too often. So we can play Loot Tree. Oh no, we can't, because we've got a couple of three. We've got the 3 of. We're not going to sacrifice Ram through to play Loot Tree. Yeah, I think this deck probably looks a little more compact and kind of where we want to be heading. Raking Claws could be good. So we probably cut the Exuberant Wolf Bear. So we haven't exactly got... Oh, what did I just cut there? Frenzied Raptor. We haven't exactly got the... So we've still got the Triome to potentially play blue, and we might play that as well. So we've got another blue source in case we need to hardcast that. Which means we could play the Lordrakis, especially since it mutates for 2 red. Yep, I think I'm pretty happy to do that. And then we'll play Lutri, but not as companion, because still a flashy 3/2 is decent. Got that. Yeah, I think this deck's turning out to be a lot better use of what we've got in front of us. We're not going to play the Ultimatum. Cool. So this way we get to play Lutri and Lordrakis's. Probably, what do we have now? 2 blue sources. I think we need to play an island so that we can go fetch it. And I think we need to play 1 fewer mountain and 1 more forest. At least with the split we've got at the moment. Because we've got Humble Naturalist, Fertilid, and Migratory Greathorn, which are going to help us fix our other colours. We might even cut a swamp here actually as well. Green-red is almost standing on its own, to be honest. Black not bringing too much to the table. This is a bit of a dog's breakfast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 13, 16, 17. Okay, so we're sitting on 17. So what are we getting from black? We're getting some lifelink, a mutate target, some sweet removal, some card advantage, a nice unearth ability. Yeah, so there's a little bit there. But what would we cut? So the Lordrax is getting back Call the Death Dweller is really, really nice. As well as being able to get back Blood Curdle. So I probably want to keep those because they are probably 2 of our better instants or sorceries to get back with the Lordrakis. I could see cutting Cloud Piercer. Could see cutting Exuberant Wolf Bear. I was actually just leaving that in because I was thinking we could put in the Forbidden Friendship to have another 2-drop. And I might just do that. Just to keep that open as an option. And it can also make the Mentor or the Humble Naturalist a 4/4 as well. So it's not irrelevant. Maybe we cut Cavern Whisperer or Cloud Piercer. I mean, I think Cavern Whisperer is better than Cloud Piercer. Yeah, maybe let's cut Cloud Piercer. We do have a few non-creature spells, and because we've got the Dracuses, we've got the ability to recover them. We've got... I'll just check we've got enough mutate cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 7. 8 is good if we can get to 8. And maybe the Void Beckoner becomes a little less necessary to have now. Because whilst we do have this first striker, I think we've got enough other removal that we can lean on, that we don't need to play an 8-drop. the Glowstone Recluse mutates as well. Lutri, copying Ram through, yeah, I can see that being totally fine on turn 5, or copying Fire Prophecy. I think that is good enough to play. Coilbug may be the cut. The Triomes also cycle in terms of our cycling triggers when we're thinking before about the Snare Tactician, but I think we're going to be cycling them rather infrequently. The Raptor. How could we miss that? If we're playing black-red, we certainly want that in there. Well, that's a little bonus. That definitely means that I'm not keen to cut too much black, but it does mean I'm probably going to cut that Durable Coilbug. It's quite slow, and I think we've got enough other low drops now. But we do probably need to cut a 3. Spell Eater Wolverine is nice, but I think we can probably cut it. Although, is it better than Frenzied Raptor? Yeah, we've got quite a few instants and sorceries, and as a mutate target, the difference in terms of ram through ability is probably not enough to justify cutting it over that in terms of killing 4 toughness creatures. That Duskfang Mentor is kind of hanging out there as one that might be worth cutting. Just feeling a little bit shaky on card evaluation at this point, because I think we've got like a deck here with enough stuff that is all really good. It's just kind of those really fine-tuned calls as to what's better than what. Glowstone Recluse I've been super impressed with. Might actually be the other Frenzied Raptor here that gets cut, because we've got enough decent-sized creatures, and certainly enough 3-drops with the Dracuses. Although it's worth noting that the Dracuses need to really be mutating rather than being hardcast, because it's going to be more infrequent that we're finding the blue mana. Don't think we'll play Lead the Stampede. Again, I'm tossing up whether we cut black entirely, but I think not. So maybe Fertilid comes out. Nah. What'll it be? Probably a 4-drop, maybe Pyroceratops. Yeah, I don't think we really need that. The Trample is nice, but actually, it's our only trample card, which does work well with Ram Through. Maybe we'll cut the Wolf Bear. I think that's a bit marginal. Maybe we've got enough card advantage from Lord Dracus to not worry about the Dark Bargain. Does work well with Call the Death Dweller randomly as well. Alright, I think we'll just leave it at that for the video for now. I'll make the last couple of cuts, and then we'll see you back soon for the first round. It'll be a surprise to you what the last 2 cuts are, but I'm just going to cogitate on them a little bit more, and then we'll sleeve up and get ready to go. We'll see you shortly.